Today's collectible spot, we're having a look at the Kre-o Transformers Micro Changers blind bags. Just have recently started popping up in retail. Spot, unfortunately, however, even though there are 12 to collect, Spot was only able to find 6. Now, granted, even though there were only 6 that I was able to get, while I'm looking at the back, I was able to verify that at least I got 6 completely different ones. There were more there, but unfortunately the duplicates and everything else that were there, Spot ultimately only could find 6. I'm hoping Spot at least got really, really good ones, and I'm really hoping at least I got the missing combiners. And if you picked up like the Kre-o combiner sets, they are missing an extra character. So I'm hoping at least of the 6 that I got, at least I'm going to get those missing characters. Fingers crossed. I don't know. On the front, it looks like we have, well, it looks like we have one Constructicon. We got Warpath. I know that's Warpath, and we got some character in the middle that we will eventually find out, or I will eventually find out. This comes also from the good folks at Hasbro. I really have to commend Hasbro. I think they're moving in the right direction with these Kre-on figures, where initially I think the Kre-os were geared more as the building sets, and then the Kre-ons were just simply additional, something to throw in with it. And I think they're starting to see that it's the Kre-ons that are the big thing, and maybe the build sets not so much. Because the ones I'm starting to find now are more or less build set activity play sets to the Kre-ons versus the actual build Transformers with the little Kre-ons. I think that's the better route to go with, and I'm really liking that they're coming out with these blind bags. If I flip it around, these are actually all the characters that you can get in this set. Product also does not convert, as indicated on the top there. But the ones that you can get, there's Springer, Inferno, Quick Slinger, Rampage, Insecticon, Singe, that's what the guy's name was. Hook, Warpath, Dirge, Blastoff, Bludgeon, and Arachnid. Really all solid figures. Now if Spot could pick and throw it out there to the universe, put it in a bottle, throw it out there to the universe as to which ones I would really like to get. Like to get Springer. Really would like to get Blastoff because I plan on getting the Constructicons. Rampage because I'm planning on getting Predaking. Obviously Hook. And I guess Quick Slinger. So that's what? 1, 2, 3. Spot's math, 4, 5. I have 5. I have 1. That could go either way, so it doesn't really matter to me. But if I could at least get those, what did I say, 5, I'd be happy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, if I could get those 5, Spot would totally be happy. You can go to www.kreo.com for more information, not only of these sets, but of course the other things out there. So what I am going to do is I've got, again, 6 bags. I'm going to open these. Then I'm gonna put them together as their vehicles. Then we're gonna do it as the characters. So we'll do it that way. I don't even think I need a knife for these. Just gonna reach in. And for starters, I guess if I'm looking at this correct, we got Quick Slinger. So far, so good. There's the components for Quick Slinger. Put that aside. Don't worry, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We're going to open up the next bag. Spot usually has good luck with these. Let's see how well he does. No, I got Dirge. There's also a little checklist here so you can keep track of which ones you're getting. Dirge, I guess not bad. Not bad. You can't go really wrong with one of the Seekers. There he is right there. You'll also see that the Kre-os all come with little bases. I like that quite a bit. Moving that aside. And also, if you're wondering, what Spot was mentioning before, right up at the top there, you see how that's 23481 and then there's 43. We compare it to this one here, we got 23481 50. These are the numbers you're going to want to look at. If you have 43 43, guaranteed you've got a duplicate. So in case you weren't in the know, now you're in the know. Let's open this one up, find out which one we got. And we got Warpath. Bang! Zoom! Let's put him aside. Spot's rushing. He's not really rushing through this, but obviously I'm going to build these all together. So if you're wondering why not, that's not happening. Next one we got is Arachnid. She actually looks pretty good too. There's the components to her. Let's put them right there. Well, let's at least hope we got a hook. Hook would be nice. Oh, but we did get a Springer. That was definitely another one I was hoping to get. Springer. There's the components to Springer. And lastly, open the bag, reach in, and we got Bludgeon. Alright, so not really the ones that Spot wanted, but needless to say, not too bad overall. Okay, so what I am going to do is I'm going to take a bit of a break. We're actually going to put these all together in their vehicle modes, then we will come back, then we'll do them in robot mode. Sound good? So don't go anywhere, guys. Be right back. Each Kre-on will come with an instruction manual. On the front here, I've got Autobot Springer, A2200. It gives you a picture of the character, it gives you a picture of the alt mode, and then inside, it shows you how to build not only the robot mode, but also the vehicle mode. So, having said that, there's all the other characters on the back. Having said that, Spot has now put together all the characters, the Kre-ons that I was able to find. I've put all of them in their vehicle modes. Some of them are a little weaker than others. Let's look at them individually and see what we got. For starters, we've got Dirge. And normally, first of all, let me just say that I think the Kre-ons as a whole are getting a lot better. Not all of them are simply just a case, although Dirge kind of is, where the Transformer is essentially just laying down on the job. He's taken a nap, he's thought, work's just too stressful right now, I'm going to take a nap. Dirge, you kind of have to do that just for the nature of what he is. As a Jet, I think he works really, really well. I would say maybe this would have been better if this could be further back, but I mean, aside from that, I don't really have a lot that I can nitpick to the alt mode. It looks pretty good. It's nice blue and got some nice colors going on there. Jets, I think, generally, for the most part, are a hard thing to pull off in a Kre-on, but I think he does. I think it looks pretty good. Moving along, the next one we have is, looking at my thing here, is Quick Slinger. Quick Slinger kind of looks very similar to some of the Seekers we've gotten in the past, where essentially you're just taking the character's head, you're putting some sort of cone, nose cone on the end of him, and then you put a pair of wings. I think Quick Slinger here is probably the weakest from the ones that I've picked up. Again, it's really hard when it comes to Jets to pull them off. It just so happens that Dirge just happens to be a cone head that you can easily put on Jet pieces. Maybe that's what they might even have to look into doing, putting like blatant Jet pieces with the Kre-ons, so that even if they're not necessarily a nose cone, cone head Transformer, you can at least get something a little bit better like Dirge here versus what you got with Quick Slinger. He's definitely by far the weakest. In robot mode, that might be different. Who knows? The next one we have is, what do we got? Arachnid? Yeah, Arachnid. I really haven't watched much in the way of Transformers Prime. I can tell you though, her alt mode is actually pretty solid. You're essentially getting, again, a character that's just, the Kre-on itself is just laying down and then you're just putting components on top of it. But she's got these neat spider legs. You can kind of understand this to be like a spider's head. I think overall it works. I don't know if necessarily she's my favorite, but she's definitely, I like what they've done with it. It's different aspects, it's new ways to do the same minifigure. At least they're incorporating new ideas. So I like that. I think one of my favorites, surprisingly enough, is Warpath here. Tanks, all kind of share the same thing. You're taking the crayon, you're laying it down, and you're just bending the legs. But with having the cannon on his, I guess that would be his back, and then putting these treads, which are notorious for being loose. I haven't seen a single piece that goes on the arm of a crayon that has not been loose. But then when you fold his legs and you kind of angle them out a slight bit, like so, you get yourself a pretty good representation of a tank. So I think Warpath definitely does a good job at being a tank. On the other end of the scale, though, we look at Bludgeon, and he's kind of doing the same thing. He's a little bit different in the cannon, but I don't know, it's just because he's got all these mixed colors. Robot mode probably looks pretty good. Tank mode, it just kind of looks like he's just a mess. And it perhaps is the fact that, at least with Warpath, he's all the same color for the most part, that it blends. When you look at Bludgeon here, because he's got all these other colors, these just look like he's got pants. And it definitely distracts from the fact that it looks like a tank. Lastly, of the ones that Spot picked up, we've got ourselves Springer. I know, you're probably thinking, Spot, this is definitely one of the worst ones. You know what? I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I may have taken some luxuries, some liberties with the building instructions. I think they have the legs straight out. I kind of like to angle the legs just a little bit up, so it kind of doesn't quite look like he's laying down. Sure, you can see his swords are the bottoms of the helicopter mode, but it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. I think my favorites from the ones I got at least, I'm not gauging this from the whole scope of all 12 of them, but at least of the 6 that I got, I think my favorite is Warpath, and I really like Dirge. Air Arachnid and Springer are probably my next favorites. So there you go, guys. There we have all the crayons in vehicle mode. Just going to take another break. Going to put them in robot mode. Be right back. All right, so let's have a look at these now in their robot mode. I would say while Dirge, oh, by the way, they all, again, come with a Kre-o display base, which I kind of like. That's a nice little added touch. Good way to display them, too. While I did initially say that Dirge was one of the stronger ones, just due to the fact that his vehicle mode has the additional details to the jet, to transform him, you're essentially just going to sit him upright and just change the cannons around on his arms. In this mode, he looks a little disappointing. For starters, I think his face really should have been gray instead of black. That's just my personal preference. I find the biggest culprit for some of these Kre-os, the crayons, I should say, is that you have this really, really nice printing on the actual crayons, and it always gets lost by these plastic SWAT vests that they put on them. They put them on there just so you can clamp these extra pieces on there, but I mean, ultimately, I'm just going to take this one off to show you guys. If you take the wings off, and you take the head off here, and you slide this without the whole thing coming apart, but if you slide the vest off, mission accepted. Let's see if I can actually get it off here. There we go. If you take the vest off, put the head back on, put that back on, and put it on there. I mean, really, I'm fine without him having the wings. I think it looks better. You have all this nice printing on the actual chest to simply have this taken off. Now, some of them need this piece, but someone like Dirge, I don't care about this necessarily. I'm just going to take that off, take this off, and I think he looks a lot better. Granted, again, a gray face would have, I think, helped this figure, but I wish they could find a way to do the extra pieces, whether it even be from the waist. If you had a waist piece that went up and then had the peg on either side wherever you needed it, then you could still keep the chest decal still visible. Well, it's not really a decal, but the printing. Without it, I think he looks a lot better. He's still definitely not the greatest of this set. But there you have Dirge. Moving along, speaking of figures and speaking of chest prints, We have Quick Slinger. For some reason, I have a tough time remembering that name. He actually, because his peg, see, goes right on the head shoulder area where the wings attach to, he makes use of his really nice printing on his chest. He's also got this large gun. Now, you can take this piece off if you want to just have strictly the blaster on its own. For some reason, they've kind of, I guess they want to make use of some of the plain pieces. The problem I have just with this guy is I like the fact that you can see his eyes. So you kind of have to have his helmet a little higher just so you can see his face. If you push it down too much, it kind of looks like RoboCop. Just kind of like that. There you go. By the way, the articulation on all of these, I'm going to take it off. The legs go out. They're actually on a ball joint, so they go out back and forth. Arms on a ball joint as well. Hands rotate. Also, the head rotates. Quick Slinger, I actually really like. I think they did a good job on him. And once again, a good argument. Let's see if I can get him on his display base though. A good argument that they got to really find a way to fix this SWAT vest piece being required. Even if they have a piece that pegs from the neck or pegs from the waist and keeps this visible, this is definitely a better way to display them. Now, however, when we get to Arachnid unfortunately kind of needs that vest. First of all, her face is really neat. I like the helmet that they put on her. Now, because she has this vest, you kind of need it if you want to make use of the legs. See, as the legs are pegging to the back there. She's definitely one of my favorites. Her printing would have been a really nice addition because she's got all this nice purple, but unfortunately you kind of need it to keep the legs on. Just in case you are wondering. This is all an afterthought on Spot's part. I really wasn't going to take all these off, but let's see if I can take them off and show you guys here. Once you kind of get the vest on, some of them are a little harder, especially when you start clipping pieces onto them. They're a little harder to take off. But there we go. Just so you guys can see Arachnid's piece, chest piece here. Put the head, crown, helmet, however you want to call it. You see what I'm talking about? That's definitely a nice detailed piece. You see the Decepticon logo, a nice purple coloring. But unfortunately, because you don't use the vest, you lose this extra piece. I wonder if I happen to have like a building brick piece that has something for minifigures. If I can, I probably would want to make use of it and then be able to use her legs without having to use this piece. You could probably, if you wanted to. Now, I'm not recommending this. I don't want to put out there that you guys should be breaking pieces. But you see how you see how the peg hole is there, and then you've got a front and back piece. Technically, you could break this piece off, as it's very flimsy. Break it off, and if you don't end up breaking the hole, you could still slide it on the back of Arachnid, sorry. You could peg it on like that, and you could still make use of it with having that front decal. I might just try to do that, because that looks a lot nicer than having this in the front. Especially when you get to all of them, when they all start looking like that, really takes away from these figures. Here we have Warpath. Warpath again makes use of that. Now, Warpath doesn't bother me as much because he's got the front cannon. His face is good, but it screams Ironhide to me. He's got the back tank treads now on the backs of his arms, but as you can see, they're extremely loose. The problem really with all treaded, or really anything that again pegs onto the arms of the Kreons. I like the look of him, but really he screams Ironhide to me. Some of them are also a little back heavy or front heavy. Here we have Bludgeon. Bludgeon is also another good example. I'm going to just take the cannon off here. Spot's doing some surgery to these Kreons here. I'm going to take the head off. I'm going to just slide the vest off. Peg the head back on the neck. Peg that back on. Look how much nicer that is. Now granted, again, you lose the fact that his cannon is now missing, but I mean really, for that piece being visible, I'm almost down having it like that. That looks nice. He's also got himself a little sword. Same problem with the loose treads though, which is a bit of a shame, but there you have Bludgeon. A nice detail on his face too, I like. And then we have Springer. Springer, well, you have the SWAT vest. I'm going to keep calling it a SWAT vest with his propeller now on the back. Really, again, you're just laying him down when you make him into vehicle mode. He's got 2 swords. I would really only give him 1 sword. And then he's got this front piece here. Now, if I take this off, I think this is really where we're missing an opportunity here. If I take this head off, take this blasted vest off, or going back to what I had said earlier, just break it. Just take that front piece right off. I really hope Hasbro has now kind of seen, oh, well, wait a minute. We're putting all these details into the vest. Why, into the print on the chest, why are we hiding it? That doesn't make any sense. Why are we actually hiding it? Yeah, exactly. This, again, you could break off, just slide him over. Making sure, of course, he's not utilizing that in his vehicle mode. But really, who's going to display these in vehicle mode anyways, right? Peg that back into place. There is Springer. Not this extra stuff. That's how I'm going to display him. This is a nice detail. I love the detail on his chest. Overall, he's got a really solid coloring too. So really, even though Spot's done a little manipulation to the crayons, and I'm just going to move all this extra kibble to the side, I think as a whole, the crayons are really nice pieces. I think in robot mode, if I'm excluding the actual torso piece, I really like the design of Arachnid. I really like the look of Bludgeon, and I really like Springer. I'm really happy that I got Springer, if anything. I might try to go back and pick up the ones that I'm missing. I really want to go back and get like the Constructicon and Combaticon Blast Off, and the Hook Blast Off, and what was the other one I really wanted to get? Rampage. But really, not that they're going to be paying attention, but I just got to say as a side note, Hasbro, you guys, you really got to find a way, especially for Springer. If he's going to be laying down and his clip, how was his clip? His clip was what, like this? If his clip is like this, you know what? This totally could come right off, and then you could still have him with the front printing, and you could still have him with the propeller blade. So that's just something that I would say could be an issue that they should work on. But as a whole, I'm really impressed with these crayons. The build set's not really so much, but I would totally continue to buy these. Today's collectible spot is a little longer today, but today we're having a look at the Transformers Crayons Micro Changers. Spot was able at least to get 6 of the 12. I'm probably going to go back and try to get the other 6. So if I do, certainly a review of that will follow. But thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.